Hello everybody, today we're going to be taking a look at this Cooper Lighting Metalux 3-foot F30 fluorescent fixture. I'm not entirely sure if this thing's electronically ballasted or magnetically ballasted, it's one of the two, but we'll find out as we get deeper into it. Now I picked this up at the Restore quite a while back, just never got around to doing anything with it until now. I believe it was one of the color tag sales or something, so I ended up picking it up. I already have a couple F30 fluorescent fixtures out here in the garage. Thought it would go well with it. So, well, here's the packaging. Pretty standard cardboard box. Shows you how to put it together. Here's some information on the end. Yeah, not too much information there. And on the other end, looks like we don't have much of anything either. So, well, that tape came off. Let's just get rid of it. Inside, we have the channel for the fixture. So let's see if we can get it out of here. There we go. I don't hear anything else inside the box, so we're just going to set that aside. Pretty standard Cooper Lighting design here, with the channel cover being easily removable. It's, you know, just, it's not the crimp-on kind that American Fluorescent uses. It uses the little twist things here on either end. It uses both ends, actually. Some fixtures just have one that slides in. This one uses both ends. I do notice here you have a little bit of rust going on, so it must have had a little bit of water damage or something at some point. Same thing on the other end. Hopefully that all the pieces are inside. I do believe I took a look, you know, just before I picked it up, but I don't remember. Okay, so the cover comes off, and it is electronic. Okay, not as exciting, but definitely a nice fixture. Hey, this might be a good candidate for preheat, and we might do that here actually, because I do have a ballast for that. But I don't know, we'll see. Anyway, it's a universal ballast, triad. Let's see here. What does it say? Well, it looks like they covered up things about the lamps with this wonderful sticker, so that's real nice of them. Why did they put that there? I'm guessing underneath it is where it says lamps and stuff, but that was very nice of them. On the other end, we have our mounting stuff to keep the ballast cover on, and the two end pieces. Look at that, they just need one wire for the other end. Goodness, hey, look at that. The socket's only made for that, literally. What? Yeah, it says shunted on it. Oh my gosh. What in the world is this? Yeah, same with this one. Okay, well, if we do something with it, we'll have to put some different sockets in there. I want to see if I can get that sticker off so we can actually see what in the world this is. So I tried picking at this sticker here, but you really just ruined the whole thing, so I'm just going to give up on it. I'm sure if we look up the model here of it, we can get some information about it, but I'm sure it does a whole range of bulbs real generically and stuff. But you know what? We're going to solve that problem today with a wonderful Robertson ballast for one F30T8, F30T12, F40T12, or what would that be, a 40-watt circle line? And that one's a 32-watt circle line. That's my guess. Made in USA. This is a preheat ballast, but I believe it has an internal starter. So we're just going to bypass that. Or, we'll, you know what, we'll leave it in and see what it does. I don't think it's blink happy. I think it does something else. But you can bypass the internal starter stuff because it is preheat, and install your own starter socket. So we can't use the sockets that this ballast has, but I have some different used ones here that I think will work just fine out of all the different things we have in here. There's starter sockets, very important. Okay, we got our sockets, we got our ballast. Now we just got to get this one out. Looks like we just need a flathead screwdriver here. Oh, that thing weighs absolutely nothing. It's upside down, whatever it says. And I think it's on the inside. It's not probably supposed to be red on the outside. Okay, well, here's our new ballast, and let's just test fit it in here. Look at that, they already have a hole for us to secure it to. Isn't that nice? So all we need is to get rid of the zip tie on here, and I have a whole bunch more of these back home. My parents brought out 2 of them on one of their trips. So there we go. And if I remember correctly, I think the yellow and the red are the starter, and the blue and the white are, you know, your traditional ones. Let's see here. Red, yellow, oh, what are we looking at? Oh, lamp. Yeah, blue and white. Okay, yep. So as long as we bypass these 2, we should be okay. But out of curiosity, we can wire them up and see what it actually does. I don't know if then it acts like a rapid start or what exactly it does. But it's a preheat ballast with an internal starter of some kind. So obviously, looks like these wires need to be stripped. That has not been done. You know what? Let's turn on another light here to provide a little more on the situation. There we go. And the white one is already stripped. The red one is too. So let me think. How do we want to do this? Well, these are so short, they're going to have to be closer to the socket, because if we turn it around, that just won't work. So we're going to have to put the ballast in this way. Does the ballast have a date on it? I don't see one on the bottom. So we're going to have to put it in this way, and it just slides in to its little home here. And we put the screw in the other side. Thankfully, it still has the hole drilled for it when it was originally designed for such a ballast. In fact, I have one of these fixtures with this ballast in it with an external starter at our old shop still at work. Doesn't get used as much anymore, but it'll be coming down soon because we're moving. I don't know if it'll find a home at the new place or not. But there's our ballast. Okay. So we have our white. And looks like these may have been used. I don't know. A little dirty, not too bad. It was in a bag with all those other ones, as you saw. Picked it up at the restore quite a while back. But of course the wires just slide right on into the socket there. And yeah, you know, just to see what happens, let's put both in. Why not? Why not? Oh, because it falls out, that's why. Okay, that's better. And then that just slides in there. Put a little loop in it or something. There we go. You didn't even see that. I apologize. Okay. Now the other end has our red and blue. And again, that just gets put into our socket here. Oh, look at that. It still has a nut in there from wherever it was before. Or maybe that's just built into it. I'm not sure. And then down on this end, same thing. We'll just kind of loop it up and put it in there. And there we go. There's our new ballast installed. Now, I am curious as to how this preheat action works. So let's wire this up temporarily and take a look. Put a cord on it real quick. Okay, let's see. Definitely sounded like it has an internal starter. Oh, very instant now. Ooh, it is very instant. But it sounded like there is an actual glow bottle starter in there. Yeah, it sounds very much like there is. There, we got a little preheat action. Well, I'm going to think about this a little bit and see if we want to use the internal starter or put a starter socket on it. So I've thought about it, and I think we're going to put a starter socket on this. I mean, why not? We have them. Just going to take a little bit extra time to do it. So let's go ahead and do that. I mean, you could use the internal starter on this. It is preheat after all. It does blink and whatnot. But the excitement of seeing a starter socket on a fixture and knowing right then and there that it's preheat is pretty cool. So why not do that? Then it'll also match the other fixture that I have at work, where I did the same thing with this exact same ballast, just bypassed the internal starter and installed a starter socket. So, of course, we're gonna just have to take this bulb out and we'll set that aside. And we'll have to take out our sockets here. And we're going to also need to take the wires out of the socket, at least the one side. So we're going to need to take out the yellow and the red, and that's what I have this wire here for. And the way that I do it is you take your wire here and kind of poke it in there, and hopefully, yep, you'll be able to pull the other one out. Now you don't want to let this one go in too far or else this won't work. And we'll do that with the other end. Now that we've taken those wires out, they just go to the starter in there, and I mean a regular starter just has the 2 pins on it, so I'm guessing it's just the, you know, either end of it here. So I'm just gonna tape off the ends here because they're still good. We just want to be safe about it. So let me cut off a piece of electrical tape. And we'll get this covered up here. Probably better if you put like a wire nut or something on it. But this will be fine. There's not any current coming through here. At least there should not be, because it is just going to a starter, which, as long as there's nothing going in either end here, like I say, we should be just fine. So we'll kind of bunch it up here a little bit. Now, if this was a live wire, you definitely want to put a wire nut on the end. You don't want to be doing this. But this is not a live wire, it's just going to that starter. And then if we ever want to use it, just take that off and we're good to go. So we'll do the same thing on the other end here. There we go, so we got that all taped up. Again, there's no current flowing through it, it's just for that starter. So we'll just kind of get it down in here and let it exist, I suppose, since there's no real use for it. Just get that down in there, just out of the way. There we go. Now if we ever need it, like I say, you just take the electrical tape off and you can pop it right in there. Okay, so we're definitely going to need a wire. Hey, we already got a wire here. Isn't that nice? And we'll need a starter socket. So let's see here. We have our box of parts. Starter sockets. Wonderful. So we'll put that away. And the perfect size hole for this actually is one of these knockouts in the side. So I'm going to think again as to where I'd like it. I believe the one that I have at work has it down on this end. So I think we're going to put it right here. And I believe it's on this side because I have the pull chain down there and it's mounted like this on a wall. And the starter socket's down here. You can see it. I put one of the nice green Leviton starters in there because those are fun to watch. Now they're just so hard to find. Should have picked up more when they still were available. But whatever. So we're going to take this out here. And you can just bend it back and forth. I like to take some needle nose pliers here. And there we go. So now, as I say, we have a perfect size hole for our starter. And, of course, this is going to mount on the inside. So now what we need to do is we'll put the starter in here. And that'll provide something to hold for us. And let me get the camera moved here. So now all you have to do is just take the starter and put it through there. Now we're going to use what's left here and mark some holes that we're going to use to drill so that we can put the starter socket on. So let's get that one's probably too big. Let's try this one, just a little pick here, and I'm going to kind of line it up so it looks nice. Probably won't be perfect, but you know what, that's life. Okay, well now we have two very tiny dots. You probably can't even see them, but let's make them a little bigger. And then we will drill some holes in here. For the starter socket. Okay, so let's get our drill bits here. And we don't need one too big. Now I have some of the nuts and bolts and whatnot that fit in here. Let me find those. Okay, that fits. Obviously it won't go in that way, but we know it works. So we need to find a drill bit here that is the right size. Now unfortunately my eighths of an inch ones are all destroyed, but yeah, that looks pretty good actually. So we'll just use one of those. Get the drill here, and let's see, we'll get it all set up. And now that we have the little dots there, they won't be going all over the place, which will be good. So let's drill this out. That's a very dull bit. My dad would be saying to use gloves, so use gloves while you're doing this. There we go. Of course, you don't want your fingers on the other side. That wouldn't be good. You're probably not supposed to go like this either, but you know what? It's a dull bit, and that's what we have at the moment. Okay, so now that we have the holes for the starter socket here, I'm just putting away the drill bits and the drill. Now we just need to, there's a little spider, clean this up. So let me get the vacuum. All vacuumed up. Now, of course, if you're not pushing as hard as I was to do this, you wouldn't have these little marks left over. But that's just how it is. And, of course, on the other side, we have some burrs and stuff. So you want to be careful with that. Now, we got one of them in the way here. So let's just test fit our... Well, it's not really going to fit now, is it? So, obviously, we need to go another size bigger. And so we'll go on up a size here. Let's get the drill again, and we'll make them bigger. Hopefully this bit will be a lot sharper. So again, be careful where your hand is placed. There we go. Let's give that a test fit. Yep, that's much better. Okay, we'll clean that up again. Now that we have the holes drilled appropriately, should just use that bit from the beginning. I mean, look at how much better it is than that other one we were using. Whatever. We can put our starter socket on. And that'll just go on through here. And it'll screw on. So, before we do that, we want to put on our wire. This is going to reach down to the other side. Now, we don't need it this long. So let me trim it a little bit here. Because that's not necessary at all. Maybe that looks like a much more reasonable amount of wire, and that just gets pushed right in there. Now it's hard to do because we got this in there. There we go. So there's one side. You can see it pushed down the thing there a little bit. And now we need to do the other side. So of course it's always good to have some pieces of wire around. So let's find a piece of wire here. You want to use solid core. You don't want to use anything that is, I mean, that's a little long for what we need. I just need something short. Doesn't need to be too crazy long. You know, I don't want to cut up anything that I could use for another project. I mean, I can always get more scrap pieces of wire, I suppose, you know. I mean, if we fold this one in half, that's really all we need, because we're going from there to the socket. So there, we'll save that other piece for another time. And we'll close this back up and put it away. Now we just need to, I think this needs to be stripped a little bit more. Probably doesn't, but you know what? We're going to be safe about it. So there, we got it a little longer. And that'll go into the other side here. Just shove it in there all the way. So there's both sides of our starter socket. Now, this end is going to be going into our lamp holder socket. So let's trim that one up. And that, it's starting to do that little green stuff going on there. That goes in here. It's probably a little long, actually, looking at how the socket is designed. That will go in here. Yes, we'll do it right now. Why not? Okay. So now, there's our preheat circuit without the... one of the scrap wires stayed out. Without the internal starter. Now, we can finally put our socket in here. And we can put our starter socket into place. Just move our little wire around here a little bit. And of course that will live right here. So our screws will go through. They should be like just long enough to hold this on without being too long. And I'll just get them started with my fingers here. We have to look through this side to try to line it up. So I apologize if you can't see that. Now let me get a little 1/4 inch something or another here to tighten it up. I really need to get like an appropriate screwdriver for this. Hey, there we go. There's our starter socket. And there it is on the inside. Not bad at all. I'm happy with that. Okay, now this is the wrong starter. This is for 4, 6, and 8 watt lamps. But we'll put it in here just to test fit. Isn't that nice? Okay, now we just need to wire up the other end. So down here, we will take the other end of our starter wire and let's trim it. And that'll go into our socket here on the other side. Okay. go. Now we just have all this excess wire that kind of has to be dealt with a little bit. So whenever there's excess wire like this, I try to bring it over to the end where it comes out of the ballast down here, because if it starts to get brittle or anything, you can actually, you know, trim it here, because if it's bent right at the exit of the ballast, that's really hard to trim and re-put a new wire on if need be. So I try to keep them as straight out as possible, so if something does happen, you can attach a new wire to it and continue using the ballast. So of course we have all this extra wire here from the starter. We'll just get that curled up and place it in the middle here. That's fine. Okay, now, you know what, let's give it a try. Why not? I have my little bin of starters here. I do believe that there is one that's an FS4. I saw it the other day. There it is. Now none of these are vintage. All my vintage ones are, well, they're not out here. So I'm gonna hang that back up. We'll put our super cheap, probably came from Home Depot on clearance or something, starter into the starter socket down here. Okay, and let me grab that lamp again. Put it back in here. Okay, now we'll plug the fixture back in and let's try it out. Much more blink happy. I like it. Awesome. That was a wonderful conversion. Now we'll unplug it again. And let's see, we're done with these tools for right now, so I'm going to put them away. And obviously we don't need this test wire anymore, so we'll just get rid of that for right now. Just a little wire I have around for testing stuff. Okay, so usually I like having a switch on everything, so I definitely would like to have a switch on this as well. To do so, we're going to need to put a hole in the fixture somewhere for it. Now, usually I'll put it in these end pieces here somewhere, just to keep it symmetrical with where everything's coming out. But, geez, I'm going to have to think about this a little bit, because we need to also have power come in somewhere. And this particular fixture is going to be installed, obviously, in the garage here. So I'm going to have to think about this again. Just to keep things the same out of the fixtures that I have here, I think I will put the switch on the end. Now, it won't be able to reach all the way to the power into the ballast here, so we'll have to use a jumper wire or something for that. But, yeah, so we're going to need to put a hole in the end here, and it looks like it fits like this. So we'll also need to remember we have the the lamp holder socket here too. So we can't put it too close up in this corner. Probably one of these lower corners would be best. So probably around here or here. I can't remember what side I put it on for the other one, but we'll put it on one of these too. So our switch here, if you take a look at it, you can kind of see it's all focused down in the one corner. So it'd probably be a best idea to put it down here, because then it's kind of in the corner away from everything. Let's undo this twist tie. Let's see. Yeah, if it's down here in this corner, well, then we have that wire. We need to keep it very much to the side, because we need to be able to have the connector come through there, obviously. So kind of right below and to the side of this little dimple here is where it looks like it needs to go. So somewhere around here, I'd say. Somewhere around here. Now let me just visually line that up again. That's right there. Yeah, we have room on the side for it to fit, and room there too. Okay, so that's where we will start drilling. Now, similar to what we did for the starter socket, we're going to want to start with a smaller bit. Now, we're going to start with that bit that we had before, because boy, did that work much better. And then we will get our drill again. And workbench here is already messed up, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. But we'll just go at it here. Now, I can hear my dad in the background saying use gloves, but we won't do that because that's just how we are. And let's see here. Okay, so there's our hole to start with. Let me dump this in the garbage. You see our little dimple we made there, but we already have so many other bumps and stuff all over this, so you know what, that's just part of its history. Okay, so there's our first hole, and we'll need to slowly work our way up in drill bit sizes to get to the appropriate one. And obviously these here are not going to get us there, so let me go and get some more. Okay, we got a scrap piece of wood here. Now you should really have this clamped down. Do not do what I'm doing holding this thing, but you know, that's just how I do it. Okay, so there is our second hole. We're getting a little bigger going on here. Okay, now the threat gets much bigger here when we get to the bigger sizes, because if this catches, it'll fling around and it will hurt you. So you really do not want that. And that threat, like I say, gets bigger when you get up to the higher sizing here. So now, instead, we'll clamp it down because it's just going to be easier. Okay, now I can tell you one thing, that's still not going to be the right size. Definitely needing to go bigger, I believe, but you know what, let's get our switch here. And yes, this is the wrong side, but you know what, we're just testing it. So we're very close, definitely a little bit bigger. Now what do we have here? I have, this must be it then, this next size up. And let's clamp that down again, because I really should be showing you the correct way to do this. And that obviously didn't take long, and you can see the hole isn't perfect. It's like a oval or something ridiculous. Let's try that. Okay, it's still so close. So don't do this. But we just need it ever so slightly bigger, and the next size up is going to be too big, I know that. Okay, there we go. So now we have a hole for our switch, and we'll just clean up our mess here. All cleaned up. Now we have our, our spot here. Now, of course, it's going to be sharp, so be careful of burrs and stuff like that. But our switch will go right in here like this. There we go. That looks nice. Okay, now same end, I want the power cord to come in right here, so we'll need to get rid of this blank here. And again, needle nose pliers. Just bend that back and forth until it comes free. And goodbye it goes. Okay, we're getting closer to finally getting the thing wired up. Let's take the ends off of the switch here and twist the stranded wire together. Okay, and we need a clamp deal for the wire. So we'll get that down. One of these things. You know, this thing was full when I got it. Obviously they go somewhere. Now I like to put them this way because if you get the screws going the other way, sometimes it'll hit the whatever you mount the thing to. You don't really want that. Now if you kind of put it off center a little bit and get it tight, you can kind of bend it into place and tighten it while doing so. It doesn't really want to do that today, but that's usually how I do it. You can get it tightened up without needing any tools. That's close enough. Let's see here. Okay, that looks pretty good. We'll loosen that up though so we can get a cord in there. Okay, now this just goes on the end here. So we'll slide our wires in. There should be enough room for everything if we calculated correctly in our minds. And the sides just slide in here. It should just pop on. Yep. So there we go. Pops right into place. Now some fixtures that have this design will come with little screws you can put in here. This one doesn't have that. Nice. Okay, now we have to do the same thing on the other end. And where did I put the other piece? Here it is. This one slides right in down here. Oops, that did not go in. Again, be very careful with this. It is very sharp metal, so you want to be safe. There we go. And I think that side's in. There we go. Okay, now it is. So both ends of the fixture are put together. Now we need a power cord. Another salvaged appliance cord here. These are wonderful for this, so we'll go ahead and get rid of this tag and clean it up. Got the cord all cleaned up, so let's go ahead and separate the wires here. So just go down each of these veins, whatever you want to call it, and I just clip both of them here because in the middle is our ground. You can see it coming out there, and then I usually take one little strand of each side, and all you literally have to do is just pull it apart, and there you go. Now you can just pull this little side thing down here to get rid of it. It's kind of like a string cheese, really. Okay, now this is going to be pretty far into the fixture because where this is going to be mounted, the outlet to it is going to be very close. So we'll need it to come in far enough that it can reach this neutral here and the positive of this switch. So we'll do it apart here a little more than I normally would, and get rid of that excess stuff. Now we'll get our wire strippers here, and we'll strip the wire, twist it together. And this one. Of course, the ground is important. It'd be more important if it was a rapid start. It's very important that it's grounded for it to start correctly. Preheat, not so much, but making sure that the fixture is safe is important. In fact, I think where I'm going to put this, let's see, they do have a little screw hole here, which is probably for a grounding screw. But looking at the little, oh, okay, there is something in there. There is a screw. I was going to say it already has a hole in it, like somebody took stuff out of it, so I'm not sure if there still is, but there appears to be now. Oh, I think it's actually supposed to go down here. Okay, well, instead of doing that, let me strip this just a little bit longer, because what we'll do is we'll loop it around the screw here on the ballast, still do the same thing. Okay, wonderful, we're getting there. Very exciting. Of course, we're done with this tool, so we'll put it away. And the wire here will just get fed through the end. Now, we don't need that much in there, but I might put some more in it just to hide it once I figure out where the outlet's going to be, because I haven't really decided that yet, but I know it's going to be very close to it. Okay, very exciting. Now obviously we're going to need to bring over this one because it's just too short, and we have this wire here. Not entirely sure what in the world it was for, but it looks terrible. But I guess that would bridge the gap now, wouldn't it? And it does say it is 600 volts, so not sure what it came from, but we'll trim it up and we'll use that. Okay, we got our little wire here all trimmed up and ready to go. So we'll get this twisted around the black wire here, and we'll put the stranded wire, can't think of words, a little bit further up so that it catches in the wire nut. And as usual, I like to give it a little tug. You want to make sure nothing's going to come out. You want to see these wires starting to curl together here on the end. That's how you know that you did it correctly and have it in there all the way. Okay, so this is going to reach over and go to one of the wires on our switch. Doesn't matter what one, just needs to be one of them. Let's see here. They're both kind of... This one's a little easier for it to reach, so we're just going to use that one. And again, we'll twist these two wires together. Now, these are both stranded, so they can be the same length. And we'll put a wire nut on that. And we'll try to give as much wire as possible to the end of the ballast over here. Because again, I don't like it to be too strained right out of the ballast itself. That's just, I just don't like that. Now, it's not good to have this strained too much either, but I do know that it is twisted together up in there. Now, it's pretty straightforward. We have the ribbed side of the wire and a flat side of the wire. The ribbed side of the wire is our neutral. So that's going to go to the white wire here on the ballast, because that is our neutral wire. And again, we just want the stranded to be just up a little higher so that it's sure to catch in the wire nut when you're putting it with a solid one. And we'll give it a little tug again. Just don't want it to come out. Okay, and then our other wire here is going to need to come over to our to our switch. And in fact, we probably need it pulled a little more to do that. And that's fine. So let's bring it over here. And again, we'll twist this together. Let's put our wire nut on. Okay, again, just a little tug. And we're good to go. So there, we have all of our stuff hooked up. We just need to put our ground on to the screw here. Now normally that would go onto the screw they provided, but I just don't have enough wire to get it all the way over there, and this is going to work just fine. So we'll loop that underneath it, and you probably can't really see what I'm doing, but it's underneath there. There. So now the fixture is safely grounded, and we're all wired up, it looks like. So let's get our channel cover here, and we need to install our little clips on either end. So these just get put through the hole here. You just kind of rock it back and forth, and they'll kind of pop their way in, and do the same thing on the other end here. Again, too bad it's a little rusty, but you know, that's just how it is. It just doesn't want to go in. Be very careful when doing this. Everything is very sharp on these fixtures. Okay, now just need to line up our stuff here and on both ends. Okay, and with both ends in like that, I usually just take a pair of pliers and you just twist it, and that will hold it in place. Some of them can be really hard to twist, that's why I use pliers. I'm sure they probably intend to use your fingers or something, but that's just not working. So there's our fixture all completed. Let's go ahead and put a bulb in it just to make sure that it is correct. Okay, let's plug it in and test it out. Awesome. Okay, let's try the switch on the end here. I love it. Now we just need to install it. Here it is in its new home. I moved over the old incandescent socket here, moved that down a little bit, installed an outlet, and put it in its place. And this is nice because it is a slim, slender fixture, so you can still get to things up above without it being in the way too much. Obviously the starter is very nice. You can see it over here. And I didn't hardwire it directly because I want the ability to add another one down further, one that I have at work. So the idea here is that this fixture is on the same circuit as the other F30 fluorescent fixtures out here in the garage. So when you come out and turn on the main light switch, it'll turn on the ones in the workout area, one of them that I just installed over here, and this one, plus the other one that will eventually come. So let's go ahead and turn it on. So we'll turn off what I assume would be considered the auxiliary lights, and I'll turn on the main light switch to the room. Ooh, that was some nice blink happy right there. Now the tube that's in the fixture is the same one we were using for testing. It's the Philips Chile bulb with the warm white, 30 watts. I thought there would be a good pairing here with the Preheat Ballast. Didn't want to use an alto on it. I didn't know if that was a little bit electrically different. Wanted to make sure I put a full wattage 30 watt bulb on the Preheat Ballast. Warm white. It's good for certain aspects, you know, certain installations, but here it's whatever. I mean, it's just a light to come into the room and do something real quick or whatever. It's not necessarily all the other lights that I have like above the workbench and whatnot. So it serves its purpose here. Now it obviously has a pull chain. So if you don't want it on while you're over in those other areas, save energy or whatever, you can most certainly do that. And obviously it has preheat action. Who doesn't like that? Pretty nice. Let's see how well it lights everything up over here. This is obviously on the same circuit as this installation here in the workout area and this little fixture here. So it's all F30 fluorescents. When you turn on the switch, it's the only thing that is powered on. And I think it lights up this area pretty well. For just some general lighting, you need to come out and get something, you could do that just fine. See everything quite well. Now, the next fixture I'll add down in this area, and that'll fill it in with another F30. But for now, here is this one. Not bad at all. I'm pretty happy with it, especially converting it to preheat. Makes it much more exciting than the electronic ballast that it had on it. And the little bell fell off. I gotta secure that on there better. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video going over the Cooper Lighting Metalux, I believe, F30 fluorescent fixture. Also, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe, and thank you very much for watching.